What is up, you beautiful bastards? It is 11:20 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. That means only one thing. That Jukebox Dance Off is live for the first time in quite a long time. We've been having to pre-record a lot of recent matches, but we're back. We're live. Second episode of Season 2 of Jukebox Dance Off. We have Caleb Boatman taking on Deivid Jimenez in what should be a really interesting match. One I'm excited to see how it turns out. But before we get to our competitors, I have to introduce our judges. Starting off with the reigning dance-off champion, bet a couple of schmucks to get there, Mr. Cody Newberry. Cody, how you feel?
I would like you to redo it. I'm the reigning, defending, undisputed champion at the end of this tournament, and have respect for my name. No, I'm glad to be back here. This is the hardest league I debate in. It puts me to my all the prep I have to use on this. I have to listen to a lot of terrible music and care about things I don't care about. But this is going to be a really interesting category because I know Boatman is very strong at debate. I don't know how Deivid is, but I know Deivid is very strong at music trivia. So it's kind of like me versus you last season, but hopefully it's a little bit more even.
Love you too. We'll go over to our other judge. No stranger to Jukebox whatsoever. He's debated. He's been on playlists. He's been on trivia. I'm sure if I created another show, he'd probably be one of the first people to hop on. One Malcolm Goldie. Malcolm, how you feeling about this match?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very interesting matchup. Like, David's beaten me in trivia before, and Caleb, I know, loves his music and loves to debate, so it's going to be really interesting who comes out, and I'm just happy to see it all unfold.
All right, well, let's get into the minds of our competitors, starting off with Deivid Jimenez. Deivid, last time we saw you, you were at Heads Up. Unfortunately, lost to Danny Costa in the final round, but you're now making your dance-off debut. How do you feel going up against Caleb Bowman?
Well, first off, I'm sorry my internet connection is a bit low, so I may jump back and forth between good and bad quality of video, whatever. Second, I'm terrified because I know I can debate. You know, I have done that a lot here with some friends and friendly other things, but never like in this competitive style. So I don't know how can I get it, but it should be fun. It should be a fun thing.
All right, best of luck to you, sir, and your opponent. No stranger to debates is one Caleb Boatman. Caleb, you've obviously had some experience in debate, whether it be Movie Battleground or I think you've maybe participated in Nerd Wars or whatnot. I know you're going to make your debut in Nerdgasm pretty soon. But how do you feel about music debates making your debut as well?
Well, if I know anything about 80s music videos, when you enter in a dance-off, you have to look something like this when you enter in an 80s dance-off. So I am ready to go. I'm ready to dance off. I hope that I'm ready for a thriller of a match. Deivid should beat it because I'm not going to take it. Other things, other references, jokes. You know where I'm going. I'm awkward. I say things that don't make sense. Let's just get into the match.
A rare wardrobe change might be a Jukebox first.
So we understand each other.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So how it's going to work is there's going to be 4 prep questions. Each competitor is going to get a minute opening followed by a 5-minute free form and a 41-second closing. First 3 points wins, but we do have a speed round tiebreaker in the event of a tie. So let's get right into it. We are going to start off with question number 2 in their programs, which is going to be, what is the best Billie Eilish song? Person who has gotten pretty famous over the last year or so. So we are going to start with Deivid on this one. You have 1 minute. Time begins when you start talking.
All right, I have chosen "You Should See Me in a Crown" because, simply put, it's just like a really badass song in her short discography. Her debut album is great. It has some bangers, and this is definitely one of them. It has great production, great beats, a great sense of moving forward. A really short song is just about 3 minutes, but it made it really concise, really direct, and it just slaps. It's just a song that slaps, man. It really is. And I think I should stop up there.
All right, ending early. We'll see how that pays off. Caleb, I'm going to go to you next. What do you think is the best Billie Eilish song? You have a minute.
Okay, I'm going to be real honest with everybody. I don't like Billie Eilish. I find her annoying. I have a lot of problems with her as a musician. But that being said, I think there is one song that to me kind of is the exception to the rule of me not liking Billie Eilish songs, and that is Wish You Were Gay. I think that song it's her most mature song lyrically. I think in that song, this kind of just the concept of I feel like I treated somebody horribly in a relationship, and I would rather pretend that they stopped being with me because they were gay than because I did something wrong. That's how much in denial of them. It's such an honest, ugly, honest song that it's like it's so sobering. And I think that's why it's her best song, clearly, because it's the only one that feels authentic.
All right. Ending a little bit early there, but we'll see how it goes as well. We're not going to go into the 5-minute freeform, gentlemen. Once again, the rules are as follows: no filibustering, no touching of the hair or face. I'm going to give you guys a 1-minute warning. Whenever that happens, just keep going like as if nothing happened. But yeah, time begins when you start talking.
One of the problems of mature lyricism that I have been hearing about Billy is that it's precisely that it's like for its age is so mature, and that's true. It has some songs that are really like for her age. She's not even like 18 or something, and she wrote pretty mature lyrics. Wish You Were Gay, I think it's one of the lesser songs in that category. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's kind of like really just a.
Did I cut out or?
He might have cut it. Okay, yeah.
Okay, I return. What I investigated about this song is that it's about a guy that really wasn't into her, and she wishes he were gay, and that to have like a strong reason for not caring about her. And that's a bit shallow for me. Like it really just is about that.
Well,
And
yeah, I think it's supposed to be shallow. I think it's kind of like it's shallow in that she's basically admitting that I wish that it was something other than my fault. I want to wish. I know that it is my fault, but I want to pretend in my headspace. I admit that I'm 100% pretending. I want to act like it was something other than what it actually is. That's heartbreaking. That's real. That's authentic. That's a real emotion. That's such like a brilliant, mature thing. My problem with You Should See Me in a Crown is that it's kind of evident of everything that's wrong with Billie Eilish, which it's just kind of this posturing of I'm so cool, I'm better, but I'm also weird. And it's the I'm not like other girls, said every other girl. It's that kind of sentiment. It's the best thing I've heard about Billie Eilish is that she's for girls who call themselves psycho but are too afraid to ask for extra ketchup from their waiter.
I have seen that meme. I have seen that meme.
And that's what You Should See Me in a Crown is.
Well, kind of, but that's the whole point of her kind of like short music career. In this moment, right up in the beginning of her career, it's just like this teenage pop sensation. And although she can prove she can be mature in other songs, this is like perfect for her right now because it's just straight up direct. It's preposterous. It's like gratifying herself, just like being such a badass or whatever. And it's treated musically, it's treated awesomely. Like the production of this is amazing. The beats, the bass, the musicianship. It's just so grandiose that it really just feels like a song about that. Like the whole purpose of the song is to say how great you are or whatever, and the music shows it. And for me, that works. It's like
But again, it's
that's why it's the best in my opinion because it's like what shows his qualities like a strong.
To me, it's kind of like just a brag rap song without being a brag rap song. It's just kind of macho posturing without being macho. It's all these things. It's like it feels like a Lorde song without any of the self-awareness of or intellectual stuff of Lorde. It like has that kind of Lorde feeling that I really like. I love Lorde, but Billie Eilish, it's like she's trying to be Lorde, but she doesn't know how to actually be Lorde. It's like a girl who watched Juno once and then also like is really into My Chemical Romance and like I want to do those things and make that into a musical artist. The attitude of Juno with the stuff of MCR, like that's what it feels like, and it doesn't work.
1 minute left.
Well, I mean, again, I just think about how young she is still in this industry, where a song like this, like You Should See Me in a Crown, or even Bad Guy or whatever, it's going to be more important because it's more about what she thinks. And even if Wish You Were
Did he cut out again, or is that just?
Yeah, you cut out. Yeah, you cut out a little bit again. I'll give you a little bit more time.
okay, even if Wish You Were Gay is kind of like more honest or whatever, I still think it's just it's a thing of refinement of her lyrics, you know, of being a bit more mature because she's not yet there, like age wise, and in a couple of years she might do this thing even better. And right now, the songs that kind of like she managed to do right now are the Bad Guys that You Should See Me in a Crown, and that is what she's doing.
Okay, and that's
doing really great right now.
Like that's a great defense of her potential as an artist. That's a great defense of her potential as an artist. But again, that's not a great defense of the song because the song is still weak right now. It's still a problem right now.
It's not a weak song.
Well, as an artist later, but right now, that's immature stuff. You Wish You Were Gay is the first kind of evidence that she can actually do something more mature and introspective and really self-aware.
Time. All right, guys, that's going to end the free form. We gave you guys a little bit of time just because of the technical issues there. We're going to move on to closing arguments, starting off with Caleb Boatman. You have up to 45 seconds. Wrap up your argument and present them to the judges.
Yeah, I think Wish You Were Gay is Billie Eilish showing that she does have that potential to be introspective, self-aware, really meaningful in her lyrics, and not be this kind of fake kind of persona that she's put on that really doesn't work. It's such like a fake bad girl, cool girl persona that really doesn't work. Wish You Were Gay is her first time she's actually being real. See Me in a Crown is not her being real. It's her trying to be cool, and it just comes across as trying too hard and not genuine. I'll yield the rest of it.
All right. Over to Deivid, 45 seconds. Time to get into the topic.
I think her most authentic self is kind of like more close to songs like You Should See Me in a Crown. Like she literally wrote that song about, you know, like hearing a cool line in a TV show and say, hey, that should probably sound cool in a song. And she did it, and it sounds amazing. It's better produced than Wish You Were Gay, better sang. It has a lot more musician thing going on, and because of that, I just think it's better. It works better into the album than Wish You Were.
All right, ending a little bit early there. We will go to the judges now. I'm going to go first. I think both competitors really gave a great picture of what they're trying to present. I think with Deivid saying that You Should See Me in a Crown is really more true to Billie Eilish, like as sort of like a character as a stage, as to like what she's going through right now. Whereas with Caleb is like with Wish You Were Gay is like a really more mature song, and it's more her sort of like breaking out in a way, or trying to be more than just like the atmosphere she is now. I think Boatman gets my point because of his balance. I think he was able to attack. He hammered home that You Just See Me in a Crown kind of comes off as pretentious, and it's really empty, and it's kind of like second class Lord. And I think Deivid just sort of got caught up in that, and he forgot to throw in some jabs and was constantly on the defense. But I'm not alone. I'll go to Cody next. Cody, who got your point and why?
So two things that happened in this fight. One, I learned the term "it slaps," and the other thing was Billie Eilish really sucks as a singer. I listened to it because this question was coming up just to hear, and I got to 3 songs, and I probably will never go back. Bowman gets this point for me for the simple fact is I think the same thing. I think it could have been slight filibustering or slight connection issues. I'm not sure where we want to rule, but he did talk a lot in the freeform, so I would just notice that in the next round. But other than that, I think he did a good job of balancing, of attacking and defending. And I think Deivid, all he could do was defend at some point. So, yep.
All right, we'll go over to Malcolm. Your votes did not count, but how would you have swayed?
Yeah, like as someone who has no idea who Billie Eilish is, never heard these songs before, that I was going by who could convince me which is their song is the better one. I heard more from Caleb, so I probably would have gone Caleb on this one.
Okay. All right, guys.
Yeah, I got slaughtered on that one. That was fucking vicious.
Yeah. And I'll try to not talk as much. It was hard with the connection issues. I didn't know if you were done when you were done talking or if that was your connection. So I'll try to give you a little bit more time on that.
That's okay, man. That's okay. I was a bit nervous.
It's all good. I think that was a good sort of like a warm up, I guess. But yeah, hopefully it's going to get better as the match goes on. We're going to move right into question number 3. Which is question number 2. But that question is going to be, what is the best song that has been turned into a meme? Caleb, you are going to go first on this one. You have 1 minute. Time begins when you start talking.
All right. I'm taking a song that has been some of my favorite memes, but I think the best use of the meme is Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill being interviewed for BVS. And you see the zoom in on Affleck's face as you hear those little notes, and then it's just like, "Hello, darkness, my old friend." It's Sound of Silence. That song is amazing. Like, it's the best part of that song is its minimalism, but its grandioseness within its minimalism. It feels like it shouldn't feel as big as it does, but it feels so big. Whenever you're listening to it, it just fills your room, even though it's really not that complex musically. There's something primal about it almost. I'll yield the rest of my time.
All right. Over to Deivid now. You have a minute to tell us what you think is the best song that's been turned into a meme.
Whether or not you're familiar with the anime JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you should know the song Roundabout by Yes, which is an amazing song by itself. One of the greatest rock songs of all time, and you know how much I.
Oh, you're back.
Okay, and it's a great meme by itself too. You know, its use is amazing in so many forms. It's the to be continued thing, because in the anime, the anime ended with the to be continued thing shit, and the song popped up, and it was really funny. It was adapted into a lot of things, into a lot of comic situations. It just works better as a meme, as a song, which is the total opposite of Sound of Silence in its really complex musicianship and rhythms and whatever, because it's prog rock, it has to be. But yeah, I think it's a better meme and a better song, and let's get this.
All right, gentlemen, 5 minutes of freeform. You heard Cody last time. Just try to be a little bit more cautious of filibustering. But yeah, 5 minutes. Let's go.
Okay, I'm just gonna jump right in here. I did not know that Roundabout was like a Yes song, but I was familiar with the meme. And I'll be honest, when I first saw that meme, I thought it was elevator music. I thought that music was elevator music. It sounds like elevator music. It's probably like really complexly written elevator music, but it sounds like elevator music. It's like dinky, like do, do, do. Like that sounds like something you would hear inside an elevator.
That is extremely offensive. Extremely offensive. I just cannot. Okay, I'm gonna ignore that. Okay, let's just talk about the song itself for a minute. It has one of the better, like best bass riffs ever written, like ever. And it's just not about that. It's just about how well organized as a band was Yes at the time. You know, it's the bass was.
Was he done with that, or is he? Did he?
Worst
His
bassists have
internet
the
cut out.
amazing legs. What?
Oh no, so you just cut out a little bit.
Oh, okay. You had Chris Squire with one of the best works he has ever done in the bass, with amazing licks of guitar by I forgot his name. Fuck, I was gonna say Steve Hackett, but that's from Genesis. You had Bill Bruford on bass. The song itself is just a really great pairment of every single member of the band at that time. It opened the album Fragile, which is one of the greatest albums of the 70s. And, it's just so tight, so greatly composed, so greatly written. It, it really, I just don't see the argument of elevator music
Okay, well, I
anywhere.
think that the stuff that it's part of a great album, or like the band is really impressive. To me, that doesn't mean anything, because if the Beatles write something that sounds like a video game loading screen, then they wrote something that sounds like a video game loading screen. It doesn't matter how much work effort or how much stuff was behind the band. If it sounds like that repetitive do riff, like that sounds like something out of maybe elevator music is too hard, but at the very least, like a video game menu, like before you start playing your game, it sounds like something out of like a Nintendo menu, just that kind of repetitive riff in the middle there that they've got going on. I think Sound of Silence, like just the hauntingness of the lyrics, the use of the song, that everything about Sound of Silence, like it's so iconic for a reason, but iconic does not make the song. There are so many other things that just those guitar notes, just those little dun, 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 like everything, you instantly know everything that you're about to hear with just those notes, but you gotta keep listening.
I mean, yeah, whatever. That video game song, whatever, it kind of is part of the prog element in a way, but it just not repeat itself, that song progresses into a lot of different things. You have a guitar solo, you have a keyboard solo, you got everything that a prog rock song should be. Sound of Silence, it's great, but it's really just about that, I know the minimalist effect and whatever, but it's just so short. It's just so the same thing. Sometimes I get bored of that song, because it's the same. It's just so plain, and Roundabout is just got so many layers to it. It
I
got
think
so many melodies and harmonies and rhythms together. It's just so amazing, and I never get bored of that song. And that song is 7 minutes plus of greatness, while the Sound of Silence is just a bit just like plain 3 minutes, which I enjoy.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm gonna cut you off there a little bit.
But I never really.
I do think that it's minimalist, but it's not, because you do have that kind of epic, and as the vision stops creeping. I can't sing, but that moment, when
1 minute left,
then it feels so full. It feels so, even though it is minimalistic in sense of instrumentation, it is minimalistic. But just because it's minimalistic doesn't mean it's not complex, because everything feels so intentional, so well done. Whenever you listen to it, doesn't matter if you're listening it to in headphones or if you're listening to it at a crowded party, everything stops. It fills the room. It fills everything. Time stops. There's a reason that it was used in 3 times in the movie The Graduate, to show that kind of intensity of those moments. It is an intense song whilst being so minimalistic. That's amazing that they can take something so minimalistic and make it feel so big.
Fuck, I hate my internet. Okay. If Sound of Silence does that with so little, then Jess fills an entire house with this.
Sorry, I had to call time there.
Yeah,
Good
no.
job, guys. Good job, guys. Really, really good back and forth, I think, despite internet connection issues. I'm going to go to David first. You have a closing argument in 45 seconds. Floor is yours.
Sound of Silence, while being a great song, is just kind of like the same, you know? It's just verse, verse, end of the song, guitar, everyone cries. Roundabout is just as complex as it gets. You got amazing bass rhythm, amazing drumming, amazing guitar. Rick Wakeman at the height of their powers in keyboard. It's just a monumental creation of.
Oh, the joys of being live.
Yeah, whatever.
It's all good.
And it's fun. It's fun. It's a fun song. It's not just like a boring suite that everyone just kind of like sleeps on and changes and skips the track. It's a fun song. It keeps you hooked for 8 minutes, and that's why it's such a monumental song. It's great.
All right. Over to Caleb for your closing thoughts.
But again, I think Sound of Silence it's minimalistic. It does have that kind of repeated. It is a very much. It doesn't change the structure. It doesn't try to reinvent the wheel. But in the wheel, it works wonders. It feels so big. It feels like such a massive song. You feel it's so epic while not being overly complex. I think the Yes song Roundabout basically is the opposite. It's overly complex. It's a very complex song, and I'm sure they took a lot of time and effort into writing it, but it doesn't really sound complex. It just sounds, again, I hate to keep running this into the ground, but it sounds like elevator music. I'm sorry, but it does. It sounds dinky and annoying. It doesn't work. Okay.
Time. All right, over to the judges now for their decision. Go to Malcolm first. Your vote did not count last time, so we'll go to you.
Yeah, this was a tough one too. Just because they both had really good points about sort of why they think their meme is better. I mean, I'm going to give my point slightly towards Deivid because I think he got a few more good points in for Roundabout as opposed to Sound of Silence, but it was a very close call either way.
I'm actually going to agree with Malcolm. I think it really came down to like the content, the knowledge of the content, and I thought that Deivid was able to attack really well, but also defend his song quite well. And whenever Caleb's like, well, maybe it's not elevator music, I think when you step back like that. That shows that's not a weakness for me. But Deivid gets the next point. Cody, you're face palmed, so clearly I did something wrong.
What was the question?
What was the best song that's been turned into a meme?
One person debated the meme, the other person didn't touch it. It turned into best song. Boatman at least used his opening. Deivid used 12 seconds of his opening to explain his meme. I don't understand where this by answering the question, Boatman wins. If this is best song, then sure. But meme, you heard one thing about Deivid's meme and never again. It's really confusing.
So what's Caleb?
All right,
Caleb at least used his opening.
We used
that's
it
why
as
we have.
introductory.
That is why there are 3 judges. We often disagree on a lot of things, but we'll go right into to question number 3 of the show, but 4 in their programs, and that is going to be, what is the worst sports song? What is the worst sports song? We are going to be going to Deivid first on this one. You have a minute. Time to get into when you start talking.
Okay. So there's this thing called soccer that you Americans. Oh shit! Is it?
Nope, you're good.
Am I? Okay. There's this thing called soccer that you Americans maybe just don't, get, but it happens to be major in the rest of the world. And there's an event called the World Cup happening every 4 years, and for marketing purposes, they made a song about it. Last year was "Live It Up" by Nicky Jam, which is a Puerto Rican rapper, and he had Will Smith and another artist whose name I can't remember. And the song was just really bland, you know. I I will get a little deeper into that part of the argument, the three four, but its major flaw is that it's a bland song, just really uninteresting. And for an event that is worldwide, that is this huge, it should at least try it a bit more, you know, just a bit more.
All right. Going over to Caleb now. You have a minute to tell us what you think is the worst sports song.
To me, the worst sports song there is an incredibly cheesy 80s rap song made by the LA Rams themselves called Ram It. There's no flow. It's everything you think of when you think of bad 80s rapping. There's no flow. It's just, we know how to ram it. It's so cringe. There's saxophone in it. It's like such a memey song. It's so cringy, but it does not work at all. It's really, really bad. It's everything you think of when you think of terrible 80s rap.
All right. Ending short and sweet there. We'll go into the 5 minutes of freeform. You guys know the drill. Let's get it on.
I want to hear you defend this one, so go right ahead.
You know, I've heard a lot of those kind of like anthems to NFL teams, and they are basically all cringe, like all of them, even the modern ones. You know, so I just don't really think it's kind of like an exception to the norm or whatever, because the all other songs are just so great. This just this one cheesy but one cheesy song, but you know every single one of them others are equally as cheesy or cringe or whatever. And this one, the song I'm talking about, you may have never heard about it or heard it, but it's really just a modern tune, you know, like yeah, celebrating union and whatever, which is what this.
I'm gonna assume that you're done with that one, and I'm just gonna jump right in.
Yeah.
I think that just because there's a bunch of other turds doesn't make this turd any less of a turd. Just because it's like a bunch of other turds, it's still a giant turd. It's still cringe just because something else is cringe. Two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah, but I wouldn't take it as I wouldn't take that song as seriously as those others, as other songs that I am mentioning. It cut it right in the middle of my argument. You know, other songs in the past using World Cups used another element to it that made it a bit more enjoyable. Last World Cup was in Brazil, so they used a Brazilian singer and Brazilian rhythms. 8 years ago, 9 years ago, was in South Africa, so they added a lot of African rhythm. So it made it enjoyable. And this one is just so plain, so big. So let's just commerce this for the sake of market and nothing else. And it just happens really. It's just not enjoyable. And the other ones, I just don't take it as seriously as these kind of songs. And I get it. It's cringe. I heard it. I did cringe. But I cringe with every other 32 songs from the other 32 teams in the NFL.
Again, just because like you cringe with other songs, it's still a cringy song. It's still an incredibly cringy song that you admitted was cringy. I think your song, I really like the Will Smith verse. It got me hyped. The Will Smith verse, it felt like it was going back to the Big Willie style days of like the late 90s. Like, honestly, I was like, I wish this was like the theme song from a sports movie. Because honestly, I miss the days when Will Smith would do a soundtrack song for movies, and honestly that would have been like a cool song. Like he's got the flow there. It feels like something like classic Big Willie style Will Smith.
I'm not a really big fan of Will Smith. Maybe his verse is cool. I mean, overall the song is not really that fucking awful. It's just boring. It's a boring song. I heard it once, I stopped hearing it. And for a major event, just as this one, that's kind of like my main argument. It's the World Cup. It has to be a song that it kind of like engages everyone into it, and this song really does not. It's just like this plain chorus and plain verses, and the features are not really well organized or well sung or whatever. So
Well, your song might be boring and forgettable, but I'll take something that I don't remember. It's a fart that doesn't smell. I'm okay with that. Sure, it's in a place of importance, but that has nothing to do with the song itself. We're talking about worst song, not like most disappointing use of a song. If it was most disappointing use of a song, sure, you win that one. But
One
what
minute
about
left.
worst song? And worst song, LA Rams Ram It is cringe. You said it yourself. It is cringe. Your song's just maybe a little forgettable, but I like that Will Smith verse.
and nothing else.
Okay, but there's nothing good about LA Rams Ram It. The Will Smith verse is actually really good, and really, I think that they actually have like a really good beat. I think it gets me kind of hyped. Like the other stuff is actually pretty good too, but the Will Smith verse to me is like what's actually stand out about that song. It's the Will Smith verse. The other stuff is like it's pretty good too, but the Will Smith verse is like this sounds like classic '90s style Will Smith, Big Willie style.
Okay, you know, although cringe, it's one of those cringes that are not like embarrassing ones. It's just like a fun little stupid song, and yeah, whatever.
Time. All right. Good job, guys. Really good. Really good back and forth. All right. Let's go to the closing arguments. Starting off with Caleb. You have 45 seconds. Time begins when you start talking.
Again, I think Live It Up is a fart that doesn't smell. It's kind of just there, like it exists, and it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother anybody else. It's there. The worst thing that you can say about it, it is forgettable. But even then, I wouldn't call it that forgettable because it has that great Will Smith verse. It's going back to like the stuff that we've missed from Will Smith. I think there's nothing really good that you can say about Ram It. I don't even think it works from like a so bad it's good type of level because it's just so painfully unself-aware. It's terrible rap. There's no flow. I don't want to listen to it. Like with The Room, you can watch a so bad it's good movie. There's nothing that you can really do.
Time.
It's a good song.
All right. Over to David for your 45 seconds. Floor is yours when you start talking.
Kind of going to use the same argument. I mean, I don't care about any of these songs, of the NFL songs, no matter how bad they are, no matter how, cringe they are. They all the same. So I don't take them seriously as songs as such. So either way, I don't care about them. This one, because of the relevance of the event, because the artist involved, which is different from your song too. It's underwhelming too. It's an underwhelming song.
All right. And I'll go over now to the judges for their decision. Cody, we'll go to you first because your vote did not count last time. Who gets your first point and why?
There's a lot of bodily brought up, like shit and farts, and like I'm really confused how many times Boatman has to repeat the same thing. But I don't think the argument stands with I don't care about it and the other ones are trash, so they fall in line, and forgettable doesn't make it bad. That just makes it didn't land. So I'm going Boatman, but we'll see.
All right, Malcolm, we'll go to you next.
Yeah, this was an easy one for me because the trick with any argument which the question is worst, you have to find a way to defend the other song, and David did not do that. So my point's easily going to Boatman because he managed to find some ways to defend on the song that David had chosen, and yeah, David didn't even try to defend Ramit.
So Caleb gets second point. I would have agreed. I thought Caleb was sort of in the driver's seat with this one. I do understand where David was trying to get though, where it's just like it's what a song it's a shitty song. It's a shitty song amongst other other shitty songs. I think maybe with a little more prep time, this would have been a little bit closer.
Yeah, I didn't care for that one.
Yeah.
I think you could know that. I
All
didn't
right.
care if I lose this one.
Yeah. All right. So Caleb has the advantage going into the final prep question, and that is going to be the one that I'm probably most excited to hear. What is the best non-Disney animated soundtrack? Sorry, I have to double check my math here. Caleb, you're going to be going first on this one. You have a minute. Time begins when you start talking.
I am not going with like a traditional like songs within the movie soundtrack. I am going with a more like soundtrack where it's like these songs are not being sung by the characters like in like The Lion King or whatever. This is like the background music. Some of these songs the characters listen to. I'm going with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which has a great kind of collection of modern hip-hop R&B tunes that really work. Sunflower, I think, is the standout of that. Swally being great, but What's Up Danger, Way Up, Start a Riot are all like fantastic songs. Everything on that is like fantastic modern hip-hop R&B. And I think it also is a great extension of the character in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
All right, on to David now for your minute opening. What do you feel is the best non-Disney animated soundtrack?
For me, it's easy. It's The Prince of Egypt. It's just such a majestic movie. It's one of my favorite movies, period. It has just such a great score, and we're counting score as soundtrack too because it's part of the marketable disc or whatever. And the music that accompanies those scenes is just amazing. It's just flawless. It's just like it's just a great argument by you have the When You Believe version of Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston, but you also have the in-movie version, which is equally great. It's not as grand. And,
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I just said what I wanted to.
Okay. All right, gentlemen. 5 minutes of freeform. You guys know the drill. Let's get it on.
I think the biggest problem with Prince of Egypt is that you've got Deliver Us. Everything else feels like Disney leftovers. It doesn't feel that unique. It just feels like Disney leftovers. Playing with the Big Boys is like, it's not a good song. It's really annoying. I don't like it at all. Playing with the Big Boys does not work. It sounds like them trying to do like a Disney style villain song, and it really does not work. It's them trying to be Disney when that's not what that should be. Deliver Us, they tried to do something different, and they're like, no, we want to be Disney, so we'll do everything else, but we got this one original and then everything else.
Yeah, maybe that one song is just like lesser than the rest, but the rest are amazing. The Deliverance is an amazing intro, but you have, I said it earlier, When You Believe, when in the movie, it's just a great moment for the characters. You have the play song, which is great too. You have how is this called? All I Ever Wanted, which has two versions that means worlds apart from one another in character. One is when kind of like the superficial desire of having everything, and the other more spiritual one, a more knowing your place, and that's the whole theme of the movie. And not songs just like the just like the ones that are sung. The score composed by Hans Zimmer is probably the greatest soundtrack for an animated movie ever made. And yeah, I'm not, exaggerating. I do think that. I do think it's an amazing soundtrack. We have songs such as the
Well,
bush, the flaming bush, which is just so chilling. It's just
I think you're talking a lot about these songs, like, and their use within the movie. And it's a really well-written movie. So yeah, they're really great within their use of the movie. And I completely agree with you that they're great within the use of the movie. But we're talking about on their own. When You Believe, you mentioned that song, it sounds like they're trying to do like the kind of just, it sounds like every kind of generic 90s singer, woman singer ballad. It doesn't really sound like that unique. It just kind of sounds like generic in a sense. And everything, that's my biggest problem with the rest of that soundtrack, is it just kind of sounds generic. I think the Spider-Verse soundtrack, yes, it is all like modern 2010s hip hop, but they go in many, many, many different directions with it, to where in the event you don't like this one song, there's a bunch of other ones that you will like. It's such a variety. Whereas Everything But Deliver Us sounds like Disney leftovers.
I like to think about the Spider-Verse soundtrack as kind of like the Black Panther one, which is just rap song after rap song after rap song, and it's great. I love the genre, but for the usage of that, it's just so repetitive. It just repeats itself way too long, and the songs are not even that memorable. Just Sunflower and maybe What's Up Danger. That's it.
Oh,
In this case, yeah, it's just has like.
I would say that Start a Riot's memorable. I would say that there are plenty other songs on that soundtrack. Let Go. I think there are plenty of other memorable songs in that soundtrack. I would say that. Oh, go ahead.
And I like to think about this about this the Prince of Egypt soundtrack not as a marketable thing because it just has like two singles or whatever. It's just part of the movie, and taking the songs apart, I just can't sit one day, put the soundtrack and put the score,
1 minute left.
and it will be amazing. It will be an experience because that score is great. Yeah, I can chill and put the Spider-Verse soundtrack too and have a good time. But if I want to have an experience, like enjoy the music, then I would go with Prince of Egypt all day, just because of the score. The songs are great too, and yeah, I got your point that they are kind of like subpar with everything Disney was doing at the time, or even commercial pop was doing at the time. But wasn't really the intention of the soundtrack. And hell, if it wasn't this intention, it even won an Oscar for Best Original Song. So
All right, well,
still matters, but they matter a bit in that regard.
Yeah, winning the Oscar though, like that's the thing where it's like Crash won the Oscar. Let's be real, just because a movie or a song wins the Oscar, that's not a seal of quality there. And I think
It's
that
not.
it does sound a lot of like leftovers. It is Disney leftovers. It is subpar. You admitted it was subpar to what Disney was doing. Usually saying that's not what they're trying to do. It's clearly what they're trying to do. Everything feels like they're trying to do the Disney formula in that. I think it works great within the context of the movie, but on its own is where it's weak. Spider-Verse, yes, it has rap songs. It's a lot of rap songs, but they're all different. They do different styles. Some are more like mumble rap. Some are different.
All right, gentlemen, on to the closing arguments. We are going to go to Caleb first. You have 45 seconds. Time begins when you start talking.
Again, Spider-Verse goes into such different varieties, different styles of rap. It is rap music, but they do so many different hip-hops. They do so many different. Like, it's such a variety. I think What's Up Danger, Sunflower, those sound completely different with each other. One's more in your face, one's more here. Start a Riot, that's more of a different style. I think that it Let Go, so many different varieties and styles. I think, again, with the exception of Deliver Us, it's all Disney leftovers. It feels like they're trying to do the Disney formula. I'll admit, it works great within the context of the movie because you have the great writing and the great characters and the great acting. But on its own, just listening to that song, I never want to listen to any of those songs on their own like I would with some of the Disney stuff, like I would with Part of Your World or Under the Sea or circle of life. I don't want to do that with
Hi. All right, over to David for your closing arguments. 45 seconds. Time begins when you sit down.
Okay, I'm gonna lose, so nothing of this is going to matter. But I'm gonna try anyway. Prince of Egypt as a soundtrack. As a soundtrack, it may not work alone apart from the movie, but for me it does, just because of that amazing score, the textures, the composition, the techniques they use, the instruments they use. As a score is great. It's more memorable in itself than the whole Spider-Verse soundtrack. The songs, in my opinion, are not subpar of what Disney was doing. They are completely different things. That this movie score and soundtrack is the best animated there is.
All right. All right. So I'll go to the judges now, and I'll go first. I think both competitors sort of gave me a good sense of what they were trying to argue. Caleb was like it's rap, but it has different varieties, it's different things you can go to. Whereas with David, it's like it's this one collective piece that flows really well together. I think Caleb is going to edge it out for me. I think he sold me more on the idea of the soundtrack itself, and I think he got David caught up on it's Disney. It's Disney leftovers in that sense. That's what sort of stood out to me. But I'm not alone. We will go to Cody next. Who gets your point and why?
I feel like in debate there has to be a tax, and I think it took a long time into the 5-minute freeform for David to even rage a comeback against what he was laying down. He used the Black Panther thing, which I wish he would have compounded more on it, because I think he had an edge in that. If he would have kept going, like it was just like you just use modern music, it doesn't actually tie into the film as much as I wanted him to hit a lot more, because I think he had a very strong case on why his was good. He just never told me really too much why Boatman's was awful or didn't work as a soundtrack, besides it as a collection of rap songs that reminds him of other things. So I have to go Boatman.
All right. Well, gentlemen, that means that your winner advancing on to the next round is Caleb Boatman at a final score of 3-1. Malcolm, your vote did not count, but how would you have swayed?
Yeah, I would have gone Boatman as well. Like he managed to argue for why Spider-Verse was the better soundtrack so great that it makes me want to go back and re-listen to the soundtrack and find out why I miss it. Does obviously I'm missing something in that soundtrack, because I'm not a big fan of that soundtrack. So it makes me want to revisit the soundtrack.
All right. Well, let's do some quick little post-match interviews, starting off with the winner, Caleb Bowman. Caleb, quite impressed with the stuff that you were pulling off. I thought you had a good sense of like what you were trying to present, and were able to defend well on some more music knowledge-based content. How do you feel about your performance today?
I feel I'm happy I won. I'll be honest, I didn't expect to. That's why I kind of came out in like a goofy outfit, because it's like, I'm probably going to lose, but I can at least have fun. I won. So I think now I face you, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, I was not prepared for that to happen. I think I might actually have to like research now and stuff, because I don't do that for debate. But I'm probably going to have to now. That's okay. I will. That'll be a fun match. You're probably going to destroy me, but I might have some aces up my sleeve. I don't know. I haven't checked these sleeves.
Well, the last person I thought I was going to destroy and dance off knocked me out in the very league that I created. So keep that in mind. All right, I will go over now to David. David, maybe it was the internet connection. Maybe it was just this is your first debate. You're going up against somebody who was very experienced in that debate realm. I think there's a good player in there. I think you see a couple more matches and you will definitely get there. But how do you feel about your performance today?
Yeah, it fucking sucked, man. No, I'm just joking. Caleb was a great competitor. I mean, Jesus, I really didn't expect the level and the quality of debating. I'm just really amazed about his level, and I will root you, sir, uh, to keep going. We have the toughest route because it was after this it's Brooklyn, and after that it's Rosa, and after that it's Cody. So it's like, what the hell? Are we even competing? But I think you got this, man. And
Thank you.
I love the questions. I love to answer them. I just wish my internet wasn't that bad and I wasn't that stupid. So yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Right. Well, I would love to have you back. I mean, obviously, I think you'll be back in some form in trivia. I know there's talks of doing like a Smith's playlist or a Smith's Iron Man match, so you will definitely be back in the role of Jukebox trivia. Mark my words. Cody unfortunately had to leave. Something came up. But we going over to Malcolm quickly. What were your thoughts on this match?
This match was really great. And I think with David, I think it was a mix of it's his first debate and his connection issues both playing its own part in that. And facing someone who's had experience in debate is never hard. I've had that same sort of stuff in movie battleground. Yeah, I just can't wait for my next opponent and dance off. So.
Nice. All right, guys, that is going to wrap things up for another episode of Dance Off. I want to thank both our competitors and our judges for coming on today. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe on Take 3. There we have great content like the Schmodown Reactor Summit. We do reactions from time to time. Lindo Take 3 whenever it's on. Second Look, among other things. Gone with the Wind is back. So be sure to check out all the content that is here on Take 3, as well as Jukebox Trivia with Dance Off Season 2. The next time you'll be seeing us, it will be Danny Koss versus Jeff Varyu, and what is going to be a really interesting match. So once again, for Caleb, for David, for Cody, for Malcolm, I'm the Black Letter Brooklyn Vale. Cheers, guys, and as always, drive safely.